Every single day I see comments like, "Ma'am, please give me a job. I have completed SQL, Excel and Power BI but still no calls. I applied to 200 jobs, nothing happened." And honestly, I understand your frustration. I understand the confusion. I understand the stress you feel when months pass and nothing seems to work. But here's the harsh reality. Getting a business analyst or data analyst job in 2026 is tougher than ever before. Not because you are not intelligent, not because you don't work hard, but because most students repeat the same mistakes again and again, and nobody tells them the truth. Instead, they hear things like, "Just learn SQL and you'll get a job. Just complete Power BI course. Just build one dashboard." But the real industry doesn't work like that. Today, I'm going to walk you through the complete reality of job market. We will talk about the biggest mistakes students make, why applications fail, why referrals don't work the way people think, why interviews go wrong, and most importantly, the real roadmap that actually gets people hired. No shortcuts, no sugarcoating, just the truth you need to hear. Hi, I'm Leena, and I help students like you cut through the noise, avoid shortcuts, and actually get hired. So stick with me until the end of this video, because by the end, you will clearly understand why most students struggle and how you can succeed. But before we start, I want you to pause for a moment. Ask yourself one honest question. Why haven't you received a single interview call yet? Is it your skills, your projects, your resume, your application strategy? Be honest with yourself, because awareness is the first step to improvement. Now let's start with the first major challenge: skills without practical experience. The first problem I see everywhere is this: students focus too much on learning tools and not enough on solving real problems. SQL, Excel, Power BI, Python. Yes, these tools are important, but tools alone don't get you hired. Recruiters don't hire tools, they hire problem solvers. Let me give you a real example. One of my students had completed 10 Power BI courses. She had built multiple dashboards following tutorials. Everything looked good visually. But when the recruiters asked her, "Can you explain how this dashboard helped a business decision?" she froze. She didn't know what to say because she followed steps but never solved a real problem. Another student built a SQL database project, but when asked, "What insights did you discover from the data?" he had no answer. Why? Because he created tables but never analyzed the business impact. And this is where most candidates fail. Learning a skill is one thing, applying the skill to solve a real business problem is completely different. Let me ask you something. If a hiring manager told you right now, "Show me one project where you solved a real business problem," what would you show? Would you confidently explain it? Or would you open a dashboard and silently pray they don't ask questions? Think about that. Now, let me explain what a real business analyst project should look like. Imagine this situation: a retail company notices that their sales dropped by 18% in the last quarter. Your job as an analyst is to figure out why. So, you start by collecting data: sales data, customer data, product category performance, regional sales. Using SQL, you query the data. Using Excel or Python, you clean and explore it. Then, using Power BI, you build a dashboard. But the important part is not the dashboard. The important part is the insight. Maybe you discover sales dropped mainly in two regions, and the drop happened mostly in one product category. Then you analyze further and realize customers stopped buying because a competitor launched a cheaper alternative. Now your dashboard is not just visuals, it tells a business story. It explains what happened, why it happened, what decision management should take. That is real analysis. What most students do instead is this: they download random data sets from the internet, create a few charts, add colors and filters, and call it a project. Recruiters can easily see the difference. So, if you want to improve your projects, follow three simple rules. Rule number one: every project must start with a business question. For example, why did sales drop? Why are customers leaving? Which product drives the most revenue? Rule number two: focus on measurable insights. Numbers matter. Instead of saying sales decreased, say sales dropped by 18% in Q3, mainly due to 25% decline in electronic sales in the western region. Rule number three: document your process. Explain what problem you solved, what data you used, what analysis you performed, what recommendations you made, because this documentation becomes your interview story later. So take a moment right now. Think about your projects. Do they actually solve a real business problem, or are they just dashboards? Random applications and low strategy. Now let's talk about second big mistake: mass applying. Many students think, if I apply to 300 jobs, at least one will respond. But in reality, this approach rarely works because most applications fail before a human even sees them. They fail at the ATS stage. ATS stands for Applicant Tracking System. This is the software companies use to filter resumes automatically. If your resume doesn't match the keywords in the job description, it gets rejected instantly, which means the recruiters never even see your resume. Imagine a job description that says required skills, SQL, Power BI, data analysis, business insights, dashboard development. But your resume says tools used, Power BI, SQL, Excel. That's it. No mention of analysis, no mention of insights, no mention of business impact. The ATS thinks this candidate doesn't match the role. Rejected. Another common mistake is writing tool focused resumes. For example, created a Power BI dashboard. That doesn't mean anything. Instead, say something like build an interactive sales dashboard that identified an 18% revenue drop and helped management make data driven decisions. See the difference? The first one shows activity, the second shows impact. And recruiters care about impact. Now, here is a better job application strategy. Instead of applying to 200 random jobs, apply to 20 well matched roles. Look for positions where your skills match at least 60 to 70% of job description. Then customize your resume. Yes, it takes more time, but it dramatically increases your chances. Also, make sure your resume includes keywords from the job description, measurable achievements, clear project explanation. Let me ask you something honestly. How many of you have applied to 100 jobs with the same generic resume? Most people watching this video probably have, and that's exactly why the response rate is so low. So, from today, change your strategy. Stop mass applying, start smart applying. The referral myth. Now, let's talk about the most common message I receive. Ma'am, can you refer me? Let me tell you something important. Referrals are not magic keys. They are trust-based recommendations. When an employer refers someone, they are putting their reputation on the line. If the candidate performs badly, it reflects on them. So randomly messaging strangers saying, "Hi, can you refer me?" almost never works. Instead, focus on building genuine professional relationships. For example, you could send a message like this. "Hi, I'm currently preparing for business analyst roles. I recently built projects using SQL and Power BI to analyze sales and customer data. I would really appreciate your feedback on how I can improve before applying for roles." This message does three things. It shows efforts, it shows respect for the person's time, and it focuses on learning first, not asking for favors. When people see your work and your dedication, referrals happen naturally. But remember, referrals increases visibility. They don't guarantee selection. You still need the skills and preparation. Interview failure. Now let's talk about interviews. Many students finally get an interview call, but they fail the interview. And surprisingly, it's not always because of technical skills. The biggest issue is poor storytelling. For example, imagine the interviewer asks, "Tell me about your project." Most students say something like, "I created a Power BI dashboard using sales data." That's it. But that doesn't explain anything. A strong answer would sound like this. In my project, I analyzed quarterly sales data for a retail company. I discovered that revenue dropped by 18% in Q3. Using SQL, I analyzed regional performance and found the biggest decline happened in electronic sales in the western region. I built a Power BI dashboard to visualize the trends and suggested focusing marketing campaigns on high performing regions. See the difference? The second answer shows problem, analysis, insight, impact. This is where the STAR method helps. Situation, task, action, results. Whenever you explain a project, follow this structure. Situation, what problem existed? Task, what was your role? Action, what analysis did you perform? Results, what insight did you find? Let me ask you something. If an interviewer asked you right now, explain your project in 2 minutes, could you do it confidently? Or would you struggle to explain the business impact? Practice this before every interview because communication is as important as technical skills. Silent struggles. Now let's talk about something that people rarely discuss, the emotional side of job searching. Many students silently struggle with thoughts like, "My friend already got placed, I'm already 26, is it too late, maybe I'm not good enough." Let me tell you something important. Career timelines are different for everyone. Some people succeed early, some succeed later. What matters is consistent progress. The real problem isn't slow progress. The real problem is unstructured effort. Learning random things without a plan, applying randomly, comparing constantly. Instead, create structure. Track your learning, track your projects, track your applications, identify gaps and improve step by step. Progress becomes much easier when efforts is organized. Roadmap to get hired. Now let's summarize the real roadmap to get hired. Step 1, build real projects. Focus on solving business problems. Example, sales performance analysis, customer churn analysis, e-commerce product performance dashboard. Each project should answer a clear business question. Step 2, optimize your resume. Highlight measurable results. Include problem solved, tools used, insights discovered, business impact. Step 3, improve communication. Practice explaining projects in 1 to 2 minutes. Use the STAR method. Focus on business value, not just tools. Step 4, apply smartly. Target roles where your skills match. Customize your resume. Network for guidance. Step 5, continuous improvement. Track your progress weekly. Learn from interviews. Improve projects. Seek feedback from mentors or peers. Consistency over time creates results. Let me leave you with one final thought. Stop asking for shortcuts. Stop hoping someone will simply give you a job. Instead, build proof, show results, apply smartly, and keep improving. Instead of commenting, please give me a job, comment something like this: here's my project, how can I improve it? That's the mindset that builds career. That's how opportunities come. Now I want to hear from you. What is your biggest struggle right now? Skills, resume, interviews, confidence. Comment below and tell me. I read every comment and I create videos specifically to help solve your real problems. If you found this video helpful and want more practical career guidance, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. I post step-by-step videos on data analyst projects, resume building, interview strategies, real career guidance. Join our community of students who are serious about building their careers, and let's work together to help you get hired.